Well, welcome everyone to the Owner Origins podcast. We have a great guest today, Marcia Faschingbauer. And thank you very much, Marcia, for coming.
Oh, I'm excited about this.
Glad to have you. Absolutely.
you.
And I'm very excited to hear some things.
Okay.
So for everybody that's listening and watching, tell us about your business today.
Okay. My primary business is Excargo Services, Inc., which is a niche trucking company that specializes in transporting import-export ocean containers for global importers and exporters.
Yep.
And we do full truckload trucking. We also have a warehouse, 125,000 square foot warehouse that where we transload and we do storage and repackaging for our customers. We have a truck brokerage business, Excargo Logistics.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have converted one of my properties into a commercial truck parking business called Pasadena Truck Parking.
Really?
Yes. So there's a lot going on today. It's a privately held company. I own it. I founded it. I will say that in terms of the size, we have about 30 acres of real estate. We are a multi-million-dollar business, and we have about 100 people that work for us.
That's amazing. And what year did y'all start the business?
I pulled my first container in December of 1979.
Really?
I was a child.
Gosh, that's awesome. Well, great. So so given that point that you're at today, let's go back and let's see where it all started. Tell me about what the household was like. What was it like growing up in your household when you were a child?
Oh, gosh. Well, I'm really blessed that I have, I think, a special family. My parents were the American dream.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was the son of a railroad conductor, and he ended up going to work in a grocery store in their small North Texas town and fell in love with the grocery business. And he just decided that he didn't like how his dad was controlled by others.
Corporations,
Unions, that kind of thing. So I think that started his love for and his quest to do something on his own. My mom is a daughter of a sharecropper from Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic today. And so I always heard the message about how unique the U.S. was or is for opportunity for folks that have a dream to better their lives.
Yeah.
And so a lot about that. I am the youngest of 5, and my parents also were very involved with the community. So giving back and volunteerism is core to what I do and what I learned, and as well as caretaking.
Yeah.
My parents brought their elderly parents into our home for a time. Great lessons learned about caretaking in the full circle of life. My brother had polio, so I got to see all that he went through and all my mom went through to help him.
Yeah.
And the rehab that went on. That made my father really passionate and active in the Shriners because my brother was served at the Shrine Couple Children's Hospital.
Yes.
So anyhow, interesting life, and lots of lessons about keeping your word, about being, having values of honesty and hard work, and taking care of people around you and that kind of thing.
That's fantastic. And so your grandfather then worked for the railroad?
He did.
And then your dad did as well too?
The Katy Railroad.
Railroad.
Which is now a UP affiliate.
And so then you said he didn't like how his dad was treating everything. So what did he end up doing? What did he start his own business?
No, he dropped out of school because there was a protracted union strike.
Mm-hmm.
And so he and his brother had to help put groceries on the table.
Okay.
And I think that kind of fueled his passion about people always need to eat.
Yes.
And he ended up getting involved with the Conservation Corps,
mm-hmm.
and that took him to the West. And then he ended up going to work first for Safeway.
Okay.
And again, came back to Texas and went to work for different grocery chains here, and would build up a territory, and just to have the company take it back,
mm-hmm.
And keep giving him some other difficult place to build. And he just thought, heck with that. And so he decided to get into the rice and bean business, because everybody eats rice or beans, every culture.
Yep.
And he figured that was depression proof.
Yes.
So, and actually the guy that actually delivered his what he sold, what they called a swamper, said, I'm leaving too. And he said, Dewey, I don't have anything for you to do. I don't even have a business. He said, I don't care. I'm going where you go.
Yeah.
And
So he saw something.
Yes.
In your dad.
Yes.
Wow.
My dad was a hardworking guy and a good guy and smart. So he started his business, and we heard the stories. All of us got to work in the business in some way in the summer times. And I think about my first jobs. My dad was really conservative, and he did not want us working outside of the business, which is, I guess, maybe it felt like it was sort of a pride thing for him.
Yeah.
But I began to babysit, and I began to dog walk and make my own money, and I liked that.
Yeah.
It was fun to have.
And what did your dad think about that, though?
Oh, he there was no allowances. There was no, he thought it was fine to do that kind of work.
Okay. So, so either you worked in the company and earned a little extra keep there, or did it on your own. Okay. Yeah. That's fantastic. And so, and I love the whole, what he saw from his experience that, okay, we've dealt with a depression. What can I do to make something depression proof?
Right.
And then what does every culture eat?
Yes.
And it's rice and beans.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Well, and in those days, rice was a big factor in this area.
Yeah.
It's all moved to Arkansas and Louisiana now, but we had a huge Uncle Ben's, American Rice.
That's right.
There was all these rice fields out west of Houston. And so rice was a major issue here.
Gosh, you don't even think about that anymore.
Yeah, it's really changed.
So you're youngest of 5. So you've got 4 siblings ahead of you. Hey, who was your mentor? Who did you look up to the most growing up when you were a child? Who inspired you, and who did you notice the most?
Well, I think because I was the youngest, my dad had a lot more time with me.
Okay.
Than the other ones. He was beginning to slow down a little bit and beginning to get more active in his shrine activity and the different charitable stuff he was doing. So my dad is definitely a major influence in my life. And the different people from my church life were really important to me.
Helpful.
Yeah.
That's them giving you faith base there.
Yes,
from that standpoint.
absolutely.
Okay, good deal. And how did you? What was the age difference between you and your siblings, and how was your interaction with them? Were they older and
we're all about 3 or 4 years apart.
Okay, so
my oldest sister was probably the one that I thought of as a leader. My sister, that's 8 years older than I am, was at home a lot. She went to Rice.
Okay,
and she was very much a influencer and encourager for me too.
Okay,
and we're still close.
Okay, and what fields and things did they go into?
Well, my 2 oldest sisters were stay-at-home moms for most of their early years, and then they both took the inheritance that we received and started their own businesses.
Okay.
One was real estate, and one was clothing, high-end children's clothing. She lived in Dallas, and so she had at the garment district, she had a room there.
Really?
And she sold clothes to Neiman's and Sackwitz and all the high-end kind of stores.
Okay.
And then my second sister started a real estate business here, and then she ended up moving to Santa Fe, New Mexico, where she started, she continued that business, but it expanded it into more of setting homes. And she created this unique business where she had people with good furniture go and live in empty homes so they could be marketed. So they could live rent-free, very innovative and creative.
Yes.
And then it would help sell these homes.
Fantastic.
So that was her business. And my brother went the corporate route.
Yeah.
And he worked for Sprint for most of his career.
Okay.
And
good deal.
He moved to Kansas City.
And so then where did you go to school after you graduated high school?
I went first to Randolph-Macon Women's College.
Okay.
That's the farthest my father would let me go, which I was a little unhappy about because I don't know if you remember the movie, The Love Story, that was all about those fancy schools in the Northeast. I wanted to go there, but he wouldn't take me anywhere that he couldn't fly me. And he was a private pilot. That was his dream. And so he would take me to Virginia. And that's probably as far as he felt comfortable flying. But I went to Randolph-Macon, and I just discovered everybody was like me, and I was looking for diversity.
Yeah.
I did not want to go to UT initially because all my high school friends went there.
Yeah.
It's a blessing, but I was kind of ready for new, that I went to kindergarten with the same people I graduated from high school with.
Yeah.
And so that 1 year break really helped, because I came back to Austin, Texas with new eyes and a greater appreciation for all that UT offered.
Yeah.
I could take Latin American history in Spanish,
Yeah.
or literature in Spanish. I could get into very specific advanced classes. I loved that.
So why didn't you stay at the school beyond the
Well,
1
there's
year?
a sad story there. The other girl that went there, besides the fact that everybody seemed like me,
Yep.
my friend from my high school class was murdered.
Oh.
And so I was really, it was really frightening and scary.
Yeah.
And I just, the whole way that was handled by the community concerned me. That was really, very upsetting.
Yeah.
I didn't feel safe. So I came home, and my dad, of course, wanted me back.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But I came back again with a greater appreciation
Fresh new perspective.
Yeah, because it was great to see what private school, so to speak, was like, because I got a great education in HISD,
Mm-hmm.
but there was just limited class offerings, and it just wasn't the kind of social life. These were all girls' schools, boys' schools. They were a couple hours away.
Yep.
Dates were for the full weekend. I mean, I was used to having male friends, and it was just not my cup of tea.
Too much structure. Too much.
Not my kind of structure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you came back and you went to UT?
I went to UT, had a great time. It was when the country music was starting to be cool.
Yeah.
And I was really enjoying lots of great the music venues with Willie Nelson, Jerry Jeff Walker, all that day and age. It was great times in Austin. So I was just grooving through taking all the classes. I was planning to be there forever.
Yeah.
But then my dad died.
Yeah.
And I just felt too dutiful. My mom was a young widow, and I went to the UT folks and said, okay, here's all the different things I've been taking because I wanted to take them. What's my closest exit? And so we crafted there was a very new first year degree in communications.
Okay.
So I got a BS in communications from the brand new school. It had been in journalism.
Yeah.
I love to write. So I got a degree in advertising, and just got a phone call from my big sister, and she said, "We need you here."
Yeah.
I'm a very dutiful person. So I was pretty grief stricken, and especially coming back to Houston, where everybody knew my dad. Austin was a little bit easier because I had a heavy heart, but I was focused on getting through school.
Yeah.
And here it was a whole new thing to deal with my dad being gone, and running into people that knew him and remind me about his great legacy and that kind of thing.
And so you came back and got into the family business?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they had been running it by themselves for a year. Mm-hmm. We had the same employees for 30 years. Mm-hmm. It was but grocery business was really being in a tough time because Houston was growing like crazy.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what the economy and what the industry was like now.
The oil boom was happening big time, and so our family chains and family businesses were all having a run for their money. Mm-hmm. And so...
And describe the business at this point, what it was like. It was still rice and beans? Rice and beans
and dried fruit and nuts.
And you had trucks and warehouses and things like that?
Yes, and packaging equipment.
Okay.
Good folks that had worked for Daddy for all these years. And we thought that was going to be a great asset. But as we learned, they did what he told them to do. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a thinking person on the property.
Oh, my goodness.
So I was like, whoa.
And how were your siblings? So which siblings?
My brother and my sister.
Your brother and your sister were in the business.
Yes. And my sister, the one that went to Rice, she was heading to pre-med before Daddy died.
Yep.
So she really wasn't prepared for business.
Yep.
Everybody was grief stricken and wanted to keep his legacy alive. But the truth is, we really were not prepared.
Yeah.
And my mom was just encouraging us to do whatever we wanted to do.
Yep.
Hindsight, we would have selling it would have been a much better decision.
Yeah.
But again, more lessons to learn about life and business.
Sure,
for me.
absolutely. Well, and it almost feels like there's a you owe it to your dad to keep it going. So it's like even selling it would almost feel like you're doing him a disservice. Yes.
No, you're right about that. Very, very insightful.
It's incredible how much emotion plays a part,
Yes.
at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a couple of years into it, I was doing the transportation of all of our product inbound.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of fell in love with logistics there. I was reminded that how much I enjoyed it. I had a boyfriend at UT that was a transportation major. And so I remember enjoying working with him on his projects. So my sister had me do the inbound transportation and the outbound transportation.
Yeah.
And kind of began to really respect truck drivers in that time. And we worked with the railroads.
Mm-hmm.
And but I could see that we were really struggling. And my seeds of kind of discontent of being in family business began early on because it really killed the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
That we'd had a wonderful family life, and I just didn't like what was happening to the dynamics.
That's when it's business, right? Yeah.
Well, that's true too.
Yeah.
Black Eyed Peas, New Year's, inventory, counting stuff at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, gross! I did not want to have a business with an inventory.
Yeah.
But I was then I was dating my current husband and my only husband, and he was really encouraging me, listening to me about being discontent. And he said, "Why don't you just take some time off and really make a career choice?" What a wise man,
What and at that time, and then the correlation with the same thing your dad dealt with in thinking as he saw, something that he didn't like that he saw with your grandfather,
right? That
he was wanting to make a change, right? And so now here you are, not quite happy. Yeah. And so, share with me.
Well, I'm the youngest. My vote didn't count.
In the business.
In the business. Yeah. And I felt like a lot of poor decisions, and I could see how ill prepared we are. Mm-hmm. That being prepared and is a big tenet of my life. I want to know what I'm doing and research and learn, and not just jump in. Though I'm sort of building my business as I fight, but
absolutely. but so within the social structure with your siblings, even though you were the youngest, that's how they looked at it, almost like a seniority thing. You just do what we tell you, and okay,
yeah. And I didn't like what I saw was happening, and of course, so what ended up happening was I told him I wanted to. I had started Excargo as a DBA of the food packaging business.
Okay.
And I told him I wanted to buy it out, so we assessed it. Mm-hmm. I wanted to keep harmony in the family as much as I could.
Yep.
But I really didn't want to be under their wing and under their decision making. So that's how we started. And then by 1983, I incorporated it and I moved it out of I started on their property and I rented space from them. Started with our trucks.
Yep.
And we began to, then I bought my first truck and another and moved out to Denver Harbor.
Really?
We moved out onto Clinton Drive.
Yep.
Yeah, we were
That's
there
where
for
all the
several
action
years.
is.
Oh, yeah. The port was very active there in those days down at this turning basin now. And the port was also open at Barber's Cut till 11 o'clock at night these days.
Okay.
Really changed now.
Yeah.
But it's gotten so much better. Then we ended up moving to Lockwood for a few years, and then I moved to the Gulf Freeway. I saw a facility for sale. I liked warehousing and transloading, and so we just kind of baby stepped our way through different land acquisitions.
How well received were you in the industry for being a woman-owned business? I'm very, because you said you incorporated in 1983, and so for many people thinking back, and I think back to growing up in the 80s and just thinking, how long ago was that? So the culture was completely
Oh,
different.
yes.
So what was that like?
Well, I tell you, I signed my initials. I really
Oh, really?
was kind of low pro on the woman thing. And I can remember hearing people walk in the front door and go, I want to see the boss man. So you're right. There was very definitely, people did not expect that. Or I would go on a sales call and somebody would say, hey, come look at it. This person is in the trucking business. Can you believe it? Dragging me in by my...
Like you're a show pony or something like that. Yeah.
No. And then as the years went on, I got involved. One of my mentors in the business was Rex King, who was the founder of Palletized Trucking.
Okay, yes.
And Rex, we used Palletized early on with to do our trucking, but we just were not big enough for them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had, our one little container a week was no big deal compared to what was going on at Exxon or Chevron or his other major, Uncle Ben's, his major clients. So, but Rex told me, tithe and join TXTA. Well, TXTA is the Texas Trucking Association.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that was great advice. And he was somebody I could call. Nobody else really wanted.
Did you say tithe?
Tithe.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, for a lot of people, will have to teach them about that, right?
Yeah. Well, that's giving 10% of your wages to the
Lord. Yeah.
Yes. And that's a key tenet in my life.
Because it doesn't belong to us anyway. So you're giving it back.
Everything we get comes from the Lord. Absolutely. So Palletized, you ask about how I was received. Rex was very embracing of me. And I think because he saw me as a daughter kind of figure. Yes. Good man, great man. And I love the business model he had. He was really inclusive of his drivers, very safety conscious. Mm-hmm. And those are two of our tenets. Mm-hmm. But I didn't really have the other colleagues, and I was trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. So I would read every business book I could get my hands on. I got a scholarship to go to Rice University's management course, which was really helpful. I found out about the SBDC. Yep. And I was one of their first clients in Houston. Excellent. And that was super helpful to help me bridge the gap. I'm embarrassed to say this now, but I thought business was kind of yicky when I was in college. Yeah. And I took the only 6 hours I had to take to get my degree.
Isn't that incredible? And it ends up being
I
your whole world. Yes.
Yes. And I had the wrong idea.
Well, and it just goes to show you, I mean, look at what happened in your life that actually forced you into looking at the world in terms of, what had happened with your dad and what your family was going through. And all of a sudden it's like, what am I really interested in? What do I have to do? But then you find a real interest in what you have to do, be in the business, right? Yeah. I think that's amazing. Going back, because I don't want to lose sight of a pivotal point in your life and your career there, which is when you're deciding to go on your own. Again, not an easy decision, right? How well received, first of all, was that from your siblings? And then I'm very curious as to, the encouragement that you got from your husband. How did
that was pivotal. Yeah. I think my siblings were a little doubtful that I was going to make it. Okay. And I think there was a little jealousy because something new and shiny is a lot more fun to deal with than something that's struggling that you feel like you've seen all your life and you don't want to be a part of its failure.
And were they enjoying the business at that time?
No, it was tough. Okay. It was tough. And they ultimately ended up shutting it down.
Okay. Yeah. And the name of that business was Harmony, you said, right?
It was First Prize Foods.
First Prize Foods. Okay.
First Prize Foods. And if you ate rice or beans or black-eyed peas or pinto beans in this market at a restaurant, at a grocery store, about 90% of it came from them. Wow. Yeah. So he built up quite a good business. But it was only this area. He wanted to only deliver where he could go pick it up if they didn't pay. That kind of guy. Wow. And I'm like, we're in a port. There's financial instruments. We can do this.
But still, his world of where he came from, right? It's handshake probably.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And if somebody didn't pay, that was your only recourse. Go get the material, as much of the material you can't get back, so that you can resell it. Yeah. Yes. Wow. Okay. So they look at it and they're thinking, okay, Marcia, you want to go do this? Sure. So,
Right.
but then you have a conversation with your husband. You sitting down.
Oh,
Are you doubting things, or what are you
Oh
thinking?
yeah, no, I would. He was just so encouraging. He said, "You can do this. You've got the personality for it. You've got the fortitude. Go for it."
Tell me about him. Tell me about.
Well, he is a psychologist,
Okay.
and he is now retired. He wrote several books on testing, and he came to Texas from North Carolina.
Okay.
He's a Minnesotan.
Okay.
And so very different than my lifestyle. His dad was also a railroader.
Okay.
And he also was kind of one that was different from his family in that there was a lot of pressure to stay in a blue-collar field.
Yeah.
And what is this highfalutin? You don't need to go to
Yeah.
the biggest.
Who are you? You better than us? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and his father's a big conversation they had was, you don't need to go to university. You can make a good living with your hands here, like your brothers have.
Mm-hmm.
And his brothers were all very accomplished tradesmen,
Mm-hmm.
as are his nephews. But he wanted to pursue a higher education, so he left his family, went into the Air Force. Became a spy because they could see how smart he was or is. And he had a real interesting, but he had to work his way through many years where he worked and went to school because he couldn't his parents
could afford.
Minnesota would not help him because of his father's wages.
Okay.
So he ended up worked through college and ended up coming to Houston because the University of Texas was opening the medical school. This has been a long time ago. And they wanted to find the best and the brightest in these different fields. So I'm very proud that he came here and he did really well. One of my UT buddies had married one of his colleagues in the psychiatry department.
Okay.
And so that's how we met.
That's how y'all met.
And anyhow, so he's a great fan, and we have a lot in common. We love outdoors and sports and hunting and fishing and arts and
but there's a correlation there. So you know, for what his family wanted him to do and what he felt he wanted to do, he went on his own and found success in a completely different field. So his wiring was different from the rest, and it sounds very similar for you as well too.
Yes, I think that's one of the things that we share.
Yeah. So you're over there, and so what first made you think? Obviously, like you said, you saw most of the business, but then you saw this part of the business where you thought, okay, I got some ideas and thoughts. Did you first run that past the siblings about doing anything, or did you all from the very beginning say, I want to peel this off and start it? Or how did all that kind of develop?
I remember a conversation around our dining room table with my sister and my husband. And she wasn't that pleased about it. But I was kind of done. Yeah. And I really didn't want to stay in that business and watch it go down the tubes. And I felt like it was going to. Yeah. And that was a tough conversation because, of course, it was like not having faith in her. Yeah, that's a very good point. So she can take that personally from that standpoint. But she's we're very different about things. I'm more of a collaborator, and she's more of a fighter. But anyhow, she's done well. She's after all of that, she ended up acquiring a organic feed store. Okay. And she loves plants and animals. We all kind of got that farming gene. So she has done very well with her business in the Heights. And and if they wouldn't have, did you even think about the possibility that if they wouldn't have sold you off that division, would you have still left? Or was that kind of a no, I was. Do you remember that song, Take This Job and Shove It? Yeah. So that was your motto? That was your theme? Excuse me. Yes, that was ringing in my head. And I had Tom pulling on me saying, look, you could start Marcia's. You don't have to stay there. So it was happening no matter what. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. And I had my little nest egg from my years of babysitting that I had put in investments and a little bit of money that we got from our inheritance. So you were very frugal, but smart in growing your money. Well, and my dad had some great messages about guard your credit like your life.
Yeah.
He said, you have got to have relationships with bankers, and they need to know you when the times are good and bad and keep your word, because they'll work with you when you need them. And those things have really come home to be true. Yep,
absolutely. Okay, so your husband gives you guys collaborate, work it through with your sister. You spin off, and then like you said, then you were telling us about everything with palletized and everything. So how was it kicking off? And like you said, you started learning and doing a lot of different growth for yourself. But how did the business grow? How did it?
Well, our first regular customer was a part of Uncle Ben's business. And then we also did work. Quality Beverage was down the street, and I called the salesman for the steamship lines helped me because I'd gotten to know them through the exporting. And again, building your network really is important, and getting to know people and thinking about resources that you can use. You can't do it on your own. It takes a village. So they introduced me to the transportation manager at Quality Beverage, and Bacardi was looking for a new supplier. And so that opened that door as regular business. And then it wasn't too long that someone suggested I become a certified women-owned business.
Okay.
And through that group, Texaco became a regular customer. Exxon became a regular customer.
And at that point, a lot of companies were looking for being able to diversify their.
And they were beginning to do international transportation. And what I learned is we just ran circles around the regular guys, and it wasn't even about being a woman-owned business. It was about it being a better business.
Yeah. Well, and why was that? How were you able to run circles around the other companies?
Because I was really choosy about the drivers we had. They were polite. They were customer service oriented, and we also put technology on day one on the first truck. I knew where my trucks are. We were early adapters to technology, and we understand about information. It's critical. It's not about the trucks. My competitors were showing their pictures of their trucks like their grandchildren. Well, having a nice looking truck is a good idea, but focusing on the customer service and the experience that the customer gets from doing business and taking care of your customers' deadlines, and our understanding that, I think, was the competitive difference.
Well, sure. And customer service starts with how well you take care of your employees. And so if you've developed a culture there, that's going to carry over to your clients.
Fantastic people that we work for Excargo. And one of the things that I was going to also say is that the relationship with TXCA kind of led me into a relationship with ATA.
Okay.
And intermodalism was beginning to really take hold in the business. It was kind of new then.
And share with everybody what
intermodal means. Between modes. It's containers or domestic containers that are going from the rail to the ship to the truck. And so that's that specialized niche that we do. And
the transloading, right?
Well, transloading is taking the cargo out of the container and putting it on a truck, or vice versa.
Okay.
Or reconfiguring it. Transloading has a different connotation for chemical companies and railroad, rail cars. But for containers, many importers will send product over here on the floor because in foreign countries, the labor is very cheap. And they're trying to load the containers to the maximum so that they have the most bang for their buck with ocean freight. So that'll arrive here, or our warehouses have gone now automated and super automated. So there aren't folks like Dewey, who I mentioned, the swamper, schlepping the bags off these anymore at the grocery warehouses in the U.S. So we take that product at Excargo's warehouse, and we have the equipment to shift it, squeeze it, and put it on, or manually load it onto a pallet, stretch wrap it, and make it a high volume, quick unload for these these automated warehouses. So that is transloading. It reduces inland transportation costs, and it's a real value to customers.
And the intermodal
is the idea of moving between rail and ship and truck. Between modes. And so in the old days, I mean, what intermodal has replaced a lot of long distance trucking.
Because it's safer with
Right.
the other
Well,
routes.
and I mean, the drivers is such more efficient. Imagine, that's why you see on the railroads, you see J.B. Hunt, you see Warner. Well, those are domestic truck lines. Rather than having to have a type of driver for days to go across country, they can put thousands of containers on a train,
Yep.
and they only need a few drivers
Exactly.
on the regional part, on the ends.
Makes sense.
To make the final mile, as they call it.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, so as you're moving along with everything, what was probably one of your biggest challenges early on, or what was something that either you didn't anticipate that you had to tackle, or
I think one of the biggest challenges for me was what's the best choice for the data management. And that's why I mentioned ATA. And I also mentioned the early intermodal. There's an association called the Intermodal Association of North America. They were evolving, and I was an early member of that group. And they have evolved into kind of the information center for all the railroads, all the steamship lines, all the truckers. We're not having to prove our insurance or sign a contract with each one like in the early days.
Yep.
Now, IANA is the clearinghouse.
And so everybody's
so that really helped. But that also connected me to the intermodal truckers all across the country. So I now had, unlike in Houston, besides Mr. King, I had a group of guys that I could go and see how they did things that were not competitors. So it was a legal visit to say, okay,
peer group.
Yeah, a wonderful peer group that are still close friends. And so I could take my IT guy and go visit them, and we could see what kind of, because there were no computer software tools for intermodal trucking.
Yeah.
The ones that did the LTL truckers or the full truckload didn't track chassis or customs deadlines, or just we had a real need. And so I was really lucky to hook up with a young man from Rice right when IT people were not finding work. And he was interested in what we did. And so he and I traveled the country, and we developed a really outstanding platform that tracks our equipment and is online with customers in the port and that kind of stuff. So that was, having those colleagues really helped. But along the way, there was an owner-operator strike, a truck driver strike in Port of Houston.
Yeah.
And many of the...
And tell everybody what an owner-operator is.
Oh, an owner-operator is a contractor that owns a truck. And that's my business model. I started my business owning all the trucks.
Yep.
And having employee drivers. And interest rates were like 19.8%. I was really struggling to make that was an early crisis.
Yeah.
So once again, dining room table, sitting down with my husband.
Yep.
And he says, hey, look, sell those trucks.
Yeah.
And let's go with the owner-operator model. Well, I ended up selling the trucks to many of my drivers because I love my drivers.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, they're using the steps. And they're taking care of themselves, and they're taking care of my truck better than their truck better than they did mine.
Because now they own it, and there's
so
ownership.
I was like, hey, this is good.
Yeah.
So then we began another, I think, unique competitive advantage is really taking great care of our owner-operators.
Okay.
Owner-operators are often in trucking treated like second-class citizens.
Yep, because they're, quote-unquote, maybe not employees, right?
No, but they've got our name on the door. We have care, custody, and control of their vehicle legally. And so... And they're the guys that the customers see every day. So our line is we want to attract and retain premier owner-operator drivers.
There you go.
So I have guys that have been with me for 30 years. And we spend a lot of energy getting to know them, their family, what makes them tick. I interview every applicant. If I hear a smart alecky kind of attitude, next.
Yep.
I hate to say it that way, but I'm not interested. I tell them it's a big decision for me, a big decision for you. And if you don't like being a part of a team and you don't like communicating, then this isn't for you.
Yeah, there's not alignment, and that's what you're looking for.
Right. Exactly.
You want to be clear on both sides, what the expectations are and the environment you like to work in. And then if that's all in alignment, then you come together and
it makes my dispatchers' jobs more fun.
Yeah.
Everybody has a better day. Our customer loyalty is great because they can see that our guys are a little bit of a cut above.
Was there a major fear that you had? I mean, what was your biggest fear? Let's just say when you spun off and did it, like number one out of that worried you the most in the beginning.
Well, just we have enough business.
Yeah.
And
how'd you overcome that? How did you
I was
approach
doing
that?
everything at the beginning.
Yep.
I was dispatching, I was selling, I was taking the paperwork home at the end of the day,
Yep.
billing at night. I was doing it all.
There were no hours of the day as far as clock in, clock out, right?
No, it was early to late and weekends and that kind of thing. And that was a big shift for my husband. He had not expect. He was, his dad clocked in and clocked out.
Exactly.
And so he got to learn a little bit more about what this is like.
And that's a good point. Even for him breaking off and doing his thing that was different from the family, he still worked in a very structured environment.
Yes.
And the difference between owning your own business and a job is there are no structured environment. People call you, did you ever get any late night calls from trucking?
Gosh, yes. The first time I got a late night call from a driver with a flat tire, I was like, oh, Lord have mercy. I'm going to have to deal with this.
Yes.
So anyhow, yes. And I've made my Thanksgiving gravy many years early on while I'm talking to a customer.
Yep.
I mean, that's our commitment to our customers. We're on call 24/7.
Yep.
We don't ever leave them alone.
But did it still seem natural for you to handle that? In other words, it obviously wasn't a deal breaker, right? I mean, when you're talking to somebody and they got a flat, well, what am I doing this? You're just, okay.
Well, here's another process we need to put in place.
Yep. Here's part of the job of, okay. See, and that's what I mean. That's the thing that you want a lot of people to see and understand. Years ago, somebody had approached me about my parents owned a donut shop.
Yes. And
somebody was talking about wanting to start a kolache shop, and they happened to get connected with me and asked me about it. And I go, okay, are you ready to work in the middle of the night if your baker doesn't show up? Are you ready to do this? Are you ready to, smell like a donut? All these different.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like, and so for some people, it's like, yeah, no problem. I already thought about that. Or others are, oh yeah, maybe I need to rethink that, And so so you talking about all of a sudden never thinking about getting a phone call in the middle of the night because one of your deliveries has a flat tire.
Yeah. Well, that's again where my preparedness comes in. Now we bump all the tires before they go out on the road.
Yep.
We have mechanics that check everything, that air things up.
Yep.
And we try to think through anything that could happen before we start something new.
Yep.
And we're getting better at it. It's only taken 40 some odd years. But,
and so now, how much of a role in the company are you playing now? What is your role today, and how is the company kind of structured?
Well, I'm still the president, but I do have a COO.
Mm-hmm.
I have really capable managers. I am spending more of my time and focus on strategy and ambassadorship.
Okay.
I'm active in the industry and active on a couple of boards regionally that I like to participate in because they help give me information that I think will help our business and help me see causes that we could also support.
And how did you go about selecting and bringing in your leadership team, for the people that...
I've made lots of mistakes.
Really?
I made a lot of that. Yeah, that's one of my, that's tough. I feel like I can hire a truck driver in my sleep. I know who's going to be a fit.
Yep.
I've done that forever. I think I can pick good customer service people, good safety people.
Okay.
But that to higher level, I've made some mistakes.
Really?
But the long-term people that have been with me, even those that have already retired, almost all have an entrepreneurial background.
Okay.
A family business background. So they understand the work ethic that it requires.
Yep.
And I'm looking for values. I'm looking for smart.
Mm-hmm.
People that are intentional and that are focused and disciplined.
Yep. And harder to find than you realize.
And balanced.
Yeah.
We all need, life is getting more complicated, I think. And it takes a person who takes care of themselves, takes care of and has respect for themselves and respect for other people.
That's true, because they burn themselves out. What good are they to anybody, ultimately, to their family and to the company? Yep. Wow. And that's interesting that you say the fact that it's so much easier to hire a truck driver than it is somebody in a leadership position. Is it because you're trying to find somebody like you, and that's not possible, or what is?
That's an interesting question. I think that folks are really good at interviewing today, and so being able to kind of see through things and have the right process. I like doing multiple interviews. I like getting other people involved with the selection. It kind of helps. I like to try to peel the layers back and see who really is this person going to be, because I'm looking for long-term relationships.
That's good. Yeah. That's so true. I mean, even at our firm, we have multiple interviews with people because, and I tell them, don't put me in the interview process. I like everybody,
I'm aware of that. I can fall in love easily, and that's why I have to get other people involved.
Yep, they put their best foot forward. They present themselves. You're like, this person's great. It's all downhill from there, right?
I'm all about trying to be positive and make things work. Yeah. And so I need other people to help, keep me making balanced decisions.
And so obviously your business has evolved a lot over the years. What has some of that evolution been like? Did industry drive it, or did you see it? Were you out in front of it, or?
Oh, a little bit of that. We were early adapters to technology, and that has been an asset. My competitors are all really good at it now. Yep. There was a time when we were uniquely different. And, I can remember having competitors say, why would you need a website? What is this tracking and tracing? Who cares where their stuff is? There are a lot of people that care a lot about.
Well, and especially 2010, wasn't that the federal, what is it, CSL, or the whole, all the basics got put online.
CVSA.
CVSA,
yes. I used to carry that around. It was all online, and I could take my table with my competitors and us, and we were on top.
Exactly.
And now they've taken that away, unfortunately. But we still, but the attorneys can find it. Yep. And I mean, that's a big challenge now, is the lawsuit environment that we're involved in.
I was going to say, that's got to be, now that's all public record now, and I've even seen where companies that hire trucking companies get in trouble because they're like, why didn't you check this before you hired?
Gosh, yes.
Yes. And
the training, did you train? No, they're all the same. They're going to try to make us look like we didn't train, we didn't select, we didn't.
And that's a liability issue more than anything.
Everything's a liability today. It's really crazy.
But from an evolution on the company, like we were talking about, you were ahead in technology. How's everything else been in terms of either broadening into new markets or diversifying?
Well, that would be probably one thing I wish that we had made. We had grown a little faster, but the markets are tough. When I look back over the history of our business, so many companies have merged, they've moved, they've left. So if I had every customer I've ever had, I'd be 3 times the size. Okay. But they find
they sell and
they sell. They sell. They merge. Sometimes we win in those mergers. Sometimes we lose. Mm-hmm. And the tariffs are certainly throwing a lot of kinks in the works today.
That's a good point. I don't think about that.
It seems to me that very immediately our customers are beginning to just say, we're going to find a way to deal with, to operate through the chaos. Yep. Whereas last year they were just on hold.
Everybody was frozen.
And the year before that they were overbuying, and then their stocks their inventories were full, and then the market went down, and then they weren't moving things, and then the consumer decided, I've hunkered down during the pandemic, and I got all the new stuff in my house, and I'm ready to travel. I'm ready to have fun. Well, we don't haul experiences. Yeah. So it has been a 4-year freight recession. This is tough, and it's beginning to get better, but there's tremendous overcapacity still in the market. And our customers are squeezing us on price. Our costs are going up. It takes it takes a lot to be successful.
And what
And
gets
I'm so grateful for the credit, for the cash we've saved, all that kind of stuff.
what gets you through that though emotionally as you're going through not just a few months of something and not just a
Well,
year?
I fundamentally am an optimist,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe in myself, and I believe in my people,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe in the Lord, and I think that things will be good. I'm a faithful person,
Yep.
a positive person. And we try to be prepared. We try to anticipate. We have really cut our costs every way we could.
Mm-hmm.
And I also really try to keep my team informed and enlightened about what's going on so that they can participate in the solution.
Yep.
I am trying to think of Angela Blanchard. His name is, I don't know if you know who she is.
Yes.
She has become an expert in crisis management.
Okay.
And she had a great line about have your sanctuary.
Yes.
Know what your sanctuary is.
Yes.
And make sure that you, if it's prayer, if it's nature, if it's humor, if it's movies, make sure you make time to spend time in your sanctuary.
That's great advice.
It was a wonderful webinar I saw. And she's right behind her was a little sign that said, "No one is coming."
Yeah, because
it's up to you.
Because we build up so much fear in our own head.
Well,
and
control that. Make your I try to control that. I try to take care of myself. I do yoga. I do exercise. I love my gardening.
Yep.
And I know what I need to do to make sure I add time that into my life.
And I think, and that's what you emphasized earlier too, is people having a balance. But I also start to recognize more as I talk to a lot of different owners, and I grew up in a family-owned business, everything. But faith is so crucial because ultimately we as individual human beings in this very harsh and dangerous world, in many ways can't do it on our own, and when I hear about so many people going through so much, trials and tribulations in their business and everything, you think, how can you do it? And most of them have a strong faith background that keeps them grounded so that they can make those hard decisions. And it sounds the same with you as well from that standpoint. So it's really neat. And I think a lot of the youth are starting to get more that way too.
Good.
So.
Well, you can't do it on your own.
No, absolutely. So what is the company today? How you said we're getting through the freight recession and
That's
everything.
what we call it.
What does tomorrow look like? What is the next few years?
We are fortunate to be in the best state, in the best region in the country.
Yeah. Our
population is going to, I think, continue to make a bright future for us. Mm-hmm. I think the business community, we are so get it done oriented, whether it's the Greater Houston Partnership, the Port Bureau, the Port Authority,
the Economic Alliance.
Everyone is collaborating here.
That's good.
And that makes such a positive difference. We can solve our problems together. Again, when I visit with my colleagues that are doing what we do in other port cities, they don't have this.
Yeah.
They're out there on their own.
Yeah.
And we all pick up the phone and help each other and talk. And when I referred to that owner-operator strike all those years ago, Tom Cornegay was the president of the port, and he opened the boardroom up, and he told all those drivers to put their picket signs and let's walk on in here and let's talk about it.
Talk about it, yeah.
And they've always had the port has always listened to us in the trucking community and invited our opinions to help, and they recognize that we need good roads, we need good turn times within their property, and they help us know. A simple thing that we learned recently, a couple of years ago, was put your name of your truck on your wind air thing.
Oh, the
foil,
visor?
On the foil thing.
The foil, yeah.
Because I didn't know, this is why you have to talk to each other. The crane operators are way up in the air, and they're trying to read a license plate. Oh,
good
goodness
point.
gracious.
And I sat up in one of those crane deals at the port, and you're looking down the glass, and
it takes a special person to do that.
Exactly. You're like grabbing it off the truck, off the ship, bringing it over, putting it down in the truck.
Yes.
It's a good point. Yeah.
Between boats. So the collaboration that we have with our port is so meaningful, and for all the other stakeholders. And now we've got so much attention on the need to have access to the port and the roads around it.
Yeah.
I'm so pleased to arrive at this place in my career, because I can remember in the early days saying, hey, we don't worry. Think of all the entities that are down at the airport.
Yeah.
It just flows.
Yep.
We stop and start and stop and start. And we've kind of connect the dots.
Yep. And before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you too, how much being involved politically has helped you in terms, because like you said, there's tariffs, there's freight, and I don't mean by political party or anything like that, but just being involved in legislation and understanding what's happening and how it can impact the business. Do you play a big role?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that is really important. Again, when you're starting your business, you may not have time for that.
Yep.
This is why the trade associations can be your voice.
Yep.
But I do go to Washington. I do go to Austin with the trucking community and talk about our issues. And in fact, I've got a meeting with my city council member in a couple of weeks. That's something I'm going to try to spend much more time now that I've got these great young people running my business day to day, doing things to help our industry. And
you and I talked about getting involved in some legislation for the auto liability and those umbrellas and all those things.
We really need help.
We'll partner up and do some work in that area.
Yeah.
And so, advice for anyone considering or thinking about starting a business. I mean, as you reflect on, and as we've talked through a lot of different things, if there's somebody there sitting there thinking about, I'd like to do a business, but I'm not sure, or what are some grounding statements or things that you can share?
Well, I would recommend that you really think about what it is that you're doing, and really not just what it looks like. Like I made the comment that we're in the information business, we're in the customer experience business. We're not just trucking. What are you doing for your customer? And do you have the resources to do that? What is needed to be able to be focused on that? I'm grateful for good relationships with bankers. The cash part is real. Mm-hmm. Think through how you're going to get paid, how you're going to document your business. Run your business like a big business from day one, mm-hmm. in terms of record keeping and having a team. If you can think about how to do that with legal attorneys, those kind of things. The Small Business Development Center is super talented. They can help you a lot for your taxes you're already paying. Be focused, be prepared, anticipate what's going to be needed. Be credible, keep your word. It's so important to keep your word and to have people trust you, whether it's an employee or it's a vendor or it's a customer. And so how you come across, I think, is very important.
Yep.
I talked about guarding your credit. That's really key. That gives you flexibility and mobility that you wouldn't have if you don't have good credit. Dream big. I feel like I was in the weeds too much for many years. But if you can really know what you bring, know what your value is personally, and try to guard that so that you spend most of your time doing that and you delegate what you can to others.
And we call that, in the world of strategic risk, what is your unique ability?
Yes.
And are you spending 80% of your time doing that? And if not, how do you delegate?
Yes.
Because it's the highest value you bring back to the company.
Yes.
And so many business owners get caught in HR and solving these different problems when, like you're doing now, you have a leadership team. I'm sure you have somebody that handles finance, somebody that handles different things.
Yes.
And they all need to be encompassed in those areas. So that's very sound advice.
Well, thank you.
It's a strategic risk that I've always said, what can impact the value of the company? And that's a huge one.
Yeah. So that's why you have to take care of yourself. You are the most valuable person to your business.
That's good. Good deal.
And you can do it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Marcia. Thank you so much for coming out. I really appreciate the time. I love your story and the background and the success you've had.
Well, thank you. I'm very grateful.
And thank you. And thank you again to the Economic Alliance for helping us support the Owner Origins podcast. And thank you, Mandy, for helping us record everything. And so until the next interview, we'll see you soon.